Hey, it's Monday night. Whenever you hear the animal sound, we don't need the music. We don't need the lyrics. We do that our own. It visualizes in our head. Ain't that neat? Hey, thank you for joining us tonight. It got to be summertime, June 1st, and it was 96 degrees today in sunny South Florida. Uh, we're in the throes of summer, but that's what we live here for. Thank you for joining us tonight. We got an awesome show tonight. The dialogue is back. Listen, tell somebody, let them know that the dialogue is on. Let them know we got the action-packed show tonight. Actually, we've got a very helpful show tonight. I'm so excited about what we're going to be doing. But first, we want to celebrate those who have gone on and dedicate tonight's show to them. And the first one is Spencer Leak Jr. Spencer Leak is the vice president for all practical purposes. He was the COO of the Leak Funeral Home located on the south side of Chicago. It was Leak and Sons Funeral Home, which his dad had recently renamed the business as Leak and Sons Funeral Home, and he has been known to. They were the ones who did several big names throughout the years in Chicago's African American community, including our beloved Sam Cooke and Harold Washington and several hip hop artists, and most recently, of course, our beloved Reverend Jesse Jackson. In fact, it was Leak Jr. who drove Dr. Jackson very proudly from Chicago to South Carolina, and then to Washington, D.C., and then back to Chicago. Well, actually, it was flown back, but drove him to all of those destinations. And he left us in his mid-50s. He was categorized as having a heart of gold, and it was the mission of their firm not to just obtain profit, but to see that everybody in Chicago, Black people, could be buried with dignity, no matter what their socioeconomic status was, whether they were millionaires or they had little of nothing. And that is an attest to what happens. And of course, you saw he's friends with Reverend with Jesse Jackson Jr. and it was said that he stood up most of the times that Reverend Jackson was in repose there at Operation Push. He stood there with members of the Jackson families who alternated. And he died very suddenly over the weekend, and our heart goes out to the Leak, the family of Spencer Leak, and we thank God for sending him our way. Also, tonight's dialogue is dedicated to the memory of musician Ronald LaPrade. Ronald LaPrade, if you remember, he was one of the founding members of the Commodores. He and Lionel Richie really were the ones who initiated the band. He was the tall brother. He was a tall brother. He stood up above everybody else in the band, and he had that, when Jerry curls were popular, he had that curl, and he played that bass or whatever, keyboards, whatever he needed to play. He did it and did it well. He had been living in New Zealand for the past 40 years. And he recently said that he would like to rejoin. He would like to rejoin the original set of Commodores. The Commodores have been coming together and playing, and he, from time to time, would come back to the States and play with them. But it was his dream for the entire group, those remaining Commodores, together, and he wanted to come back with them, and that never came to pass. He also left us, as his daughter said, in a very sudden and unexpected way. So we give God honor and praise for sending beautiful souls like that to grace the earth and to bring joy and love into our hearts. All right. So tonight, well, I'm gonna introduce you to our guest in a second, but let me deal with this. Let's get Orange Madness out of the way. It looks like a federal judge in Florida gathered with the assistance of 25 other federal judges who said that somebody has to do this, and I want to use a proper language, so I'll just stay away from that connotation. Who had the guts to step up and do what the Congress and other members of the judiciary have not had, and they came together and supported this sister in saying that something has to be done about Orange Madness running amok. I got calls, I got texts on Friday evening. We were doing some serious family time, and I was notified that he took a triple whammy, beginning with he was given 14 days to take his name off of the Kennedy Center. 14 days to take his name off of the Kennedy Center. That began with that order. Many of the African American and minority artists that were going to participate in the 250th year anniversary dug a little deeper, and they found out that it was not as patriotic, but it was kind of like supported by a shell company of Trump sympathizers. Oh, I didn't mean to call Orange sympathizers, and a lot of them pulled away. Kudos to them. Morris Day, we got you, man. So there was a poll taken on one popular CNN talk show over the weekend as to should artists withdraw from events such as that because of political differences, and it came back 57 to 43%. Yes, they should. I'm on the side of the yes, they should. Why would you support anything that's going on that's suppressing voters? That's something that's close to my heart. That is redistricting, cheating the system, that is allowing the chief executive officer of the United States to profit off of the office, which had never before been as blatant. I know guys had little things and they got out of office and things were waiting for them, but never as blatant as we have seen in this year and a half from this presidency. And they decided not to participate when they learned who really was pushing this celebration of the 250th birthday of the United States. And I say kudos to them. The other thing it did was that $1.9 million slush fund we talked about last week. We talked about the Thug Fund. The attorney says that is put on hold. And now, as it's on hold, the judge rather said that's on hold. And as that is on hold, they are now checking to see if there were any illegality. Was anything done illegally in formulating that deal? Because maybe there's something that needs to be done about that. So it's been a tough week. He's been up all night placing a conversation on Truth Social and saying he was just there to try to help the Kennedy Center. Well, it's so funny that while his name was on it and he had his stamp on it, artists refused to play there also. So kudos to the entertainment community. In fact, yesterday we learned that Scott Pizzi, who is the face of the franchise 60 Minutes, came down against the pressure that's coming from the government, mainly because of this guy, because they were trying to form a merger. And of course, it takes the FCC, which he comes under his auspices to allow. And so CBS had just been a little puppy child, as many law firms have been reduced to, and many colleges and universities, places that we normally respect for academia, they had kind of given up their souls because they didn't want the pressure that was being brought to bear from the White House, just to say it like this. And so kudos to the judge for stepping in. And it's a shame that Congress, people that we elect, or we didn't elect, but they're elected to do this job, has just sat idly by and let one entity wreck our government and run amok of the Constitution. So I've been telling y'all, don't worry. It's kind of like Stephen A. Smith says about the Dallas Cowboys. No matter how good it looks during the season, they're going to always find a way to wreck themselves. I've been saying, don't worry. God is still in charge. Number one, he'll give us the resilience to stand all of this onslaught of madness. And number two, in due season, he's going to step in and he's going to replace it. And we're going to be placed back into some form of normalcy. Meanwhile, excuse me, Orange Madness Jr. over in Tallahassee, we have to give them kudos because they finally, what is this? Today is June the 1st, the 6th month of the year. They have finally passed a budget, which is the one function that the state of Florida's legislature has. One function. Everything else they do is subsidiary. They finally passed a budget. And included in that budget was a $4 million payment to the families of the Groveland Four. Let me remind you that the Groveland Four were the four who lost their lives either in prison or being killed on the day of a supposed rape and murder. And they were later found, all four, to be innocent. Two died that day. One was shot over 200 times, and two died in prison. I had the opportunity through Faith in Florida to address that subcommittee, that Senate subcommittee that forwarded that to the full Senate and then to the full legislature, where it was signed. Little Orange said that if it got to his desk, he would sign it. Now it's put to the test, and I was there with some of the family members, and there was a brother who's in his 90s. He said he just would like to see, before he left this earth, some measure of justice for what his family has endured. And so we have to say kudos when kudos are due. No, we don't like all of the special sessions, the redistricting. We don't like the property tax thing, which is an okie doke because it's all about cutting taxes. It's Florida's version of Project 2025. Hopefully we'll go to the polls and defeat that. But this is the first time that the Florida legislature has ever passed monies to people who have been killed by law enforcement unjustly. And so we have to say that. So we start the show off by today giving God thanksgiving for these things taking place and how he's moving. Just like I said, just give him time. James Cleveland had a song that said, "He will come in a hurry. He'll be there, don't you worry." Yes, he will. Yes, he will. I'm not supposed to be preaching on this show, but anyway, I just had to get that. But listen, tonight, I am so excited with some of the things that were going on and with my travel schedule. I missed Mental Health Month, which was the month of May. And we made an executive decision, Madam Producer and I, and thankfully, this sister, again, at the last minute, joined us because she knew the gravity of this and how, particularly in our community, with our listeners, we need to reach out and recheck and recalibrate and protect our mental health. She came on with me back in February when there was a rash of suicides of young players in the NFL, young Black players in the NFL. And we've seen a hockey player, whereas it doesn't matter. He was a white brother this past week that committed suicide. And she came on. We had an emergency meeting. We pushed everything we had on the agenda to the side so that we could deal with that issue. And that's what she came on and brilliantly helped us. And tonight, Sister Adawna Bell is here tonight to talk to us about some of the mental health. I know it's June 1st, but we're going to take the liberty tonight to talk about. Sister Bell, how are you? And thank you.
You are welcome, Pastor, and I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Thank you for having me back on your show.
Well, you are a blessing to our listeners, and prayerfully, there are going to be some gains because of your presence tonight. I want to just kind of step aside and let you take 2 or 3 minutes and tell us the importance of us checking our mental health.
The importance of us checking our mental health is about as important as it is to checking on your car and getting your oil changed every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. So what does that mean? If you don't check on your car, if you don't get your oil changed, eventually your engine is going to lock up, and then you are in a big amount of trouble. When it comes to our mental health, we have to say, I'm not doing well, or I think I need to talk to someone about whatever it is that I'm feeling, um, and not be afraid to do it. Because what I find is that people sometimes they think they're weak, or they're being soft, or um, their faith is not strong enough because they need to talk to somebody. We have so much going on. I mean, I heard you talking about the orange man, and him by himself will make you stress out. Him by yourself can cause anxiety to a person. Turning on the news can cause anxiety. Social media can cause anxiety. So it's important for us to check on ourselves, check in on ourselves, check in with the ones that we love, but check on ourselves and ask, am I okay? Do I need to go talk to somebody? I'm not feeling the way I normally feel. I'm feeling more anxious when I'm out in front of people, or, the news makes me feel anxious, or life is just life, and I'm not happy. I'm feeling a little down, or, or maybe I just need to check in to just check in to make sure everything is going the way I need it to, or the things that are going on in my life are things I didn't plan on happening, and I'm finding myself having to pivot, or I'm having to change, or I've lost someone, or I've lost something. I've lost a job, I've lost a person, I've lost a relationship, and I'm grieving. And people don't think we grieve a lot of things, but we do. We grieve relationships ended, we grieve losing jobs, we even grieve retiring. Um, and so being able to check on ourselves and say, I need to talk to someone. This is important because I don't feel okay. It's just like if you go to the doctor, and I know a lot of us don't like to go to the doctor, and I hope that that's changing too. I'm not feeling well. I need to go to the doctor. And the doctor may say, it's a good thing that you came in, because if this had gone on any longer, it could have become this, which could be much worse, right? The same thing with coming to see a person like myself, a therapist. Come in when it's not too bad before it gets bad, right? Or if you don't, and you need to come in when it's bad, let's work on reducing what's happening to you. Let's talk about what's happening to you and what do you need, and how a therapist can actually help you obtain those goals.
So, Sister Bill, let me back up. First of all, we didn't properly introduce you. Would you please let our audience know what you do, your credentials, and so forth?
Sure. My name is Adawna Bell. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I am located in South Florida. I am licensed in 3 states now. I think when I met you, I might have just gotten licensed in the third state. I am licensed in the state of Florida. I am licensed in Alabama and in Connecticut. My company is called After Happily Ever After, and in a couple of weeks, I'll be celebrating 12 years in private practice. I'm also an author, an award-winning author for a book called Heal Sister Heal, A Sister's Guide to Wholeness. I also have a workbook for people who are getting married that is about the marriage vows. And I also have a journal that my daughter and I did together during COVID. So
Oh,
I am an
wow.
author, I am a public speaker, and yeah, those are my credentials. Whenever I hear myself talk about it, I'm like, wow, I do a lot.
Well, that yours is the most vital of ministries. Um, I think everybody has to know their limitations as a pastor, and my my pastorate, 50 years, I guess now,
Mhm.
almost, yeah, 50 years in ministry. Um, I always tell a joke that T.D. Jakes and I are about the same age. We've been in ministry about the same length of time, and he almost preaches as well as I do. But anyway, he'd sue me if he heard me say that. But most of my pastorate has been accentuated by the ministry, what we would call pastoral care, and we have retranslated to pivoted to congregational care.
Mhm.
Uh, but I know that, and I was a certified grief counselor for a season there, but I know uh, there has to be your your deeper level of your concentration would say, okay, I brought you here, but you now need to go to a deeper level of therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And how hard is it in the professional community for people? I know there are issues of finances and other continuities. How hard is it in the professional community for people to make decisions like that?
Well, I think it depends on the people. Now, you talk about, finances. A lot of us take insurance. I accept insurance. Um, Therefore, if you can't afford to pay 150, 175, $200 an hour to work with a therapist, a lot of therapists take insurance. A lot of therapists have sliding scales. It just depends on the person that you find.
Well, actually, when I was talking about financing, I was saying, uh, and now it would not likely pertain from a pastoral issue of passing someone on to you, but in other, other levels of, for instance, if your specialty was grief, and I heard
Hmm.
you talk about that, I want to talk about that a little later. Um, if a therapist is more general and a person is experiencing unhealthy grief,
Hmm.
and they know that you are able to advance a person further along in therapy, but they don't want to give up that revenue. That's why I'm asking,
Hmm.
how often do you encounter issues like that?
I don't.
That's
I
great.
don't encounter issues like that. Most pastors that refer someone to me, whether it's from my church that I belong to pastor friends that I may have, it's okay. This is out of my wheelhouse. I can't work with this. I'm sending them to you.
Okay. And I don't mean pastors, I mean other therapists.
Other Even other therapists, like if I get a phone call, I don't work with children. I haven't worked with children since the pandemic. I did it in my early career. Now I choose not to. When I get a phone call from a parent who wants me to work with their child, I will say to them, I no longer work with children. However, here's who you can call. You can check with your school, your child's school, and see if they have a therapist on staff, or if not, do they work with a particular agency? If not, here's some names of some agencies that you can call. Here's some names of some therapists you can call. I will refer out because I know that I no longer work with children. So why would I take what I don't want to work with? If someone comes to me and they say, "Oh, I'm having issues with this particular area," if it's not an area that I work with, I will say very quickly, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I don't work in that area. Let me see if I can help you find someone." Or if you want, you can always go to Psychology Today, put in your insurance, put in what you're looking for, and people will show up. You can call the number on the back of your insurance card and tell them exactly what you're looking for. I have no problem with people doing that. And I have no problem doing that.
So I know ethics and professional courtesies and all that. And I didn't really mean to get off on that, but you mentioned it. You mentioned several times the pandemic. Just how much did the pandemic change therapy? In almost every question I ask it with an emphasis in our community, the minority
Well,
community.
I think it made it a little bit more accessible because so many of us now, like me personally, I'm 100% virtual. I don't have an office that I go to anymore. I
Okay.
work from home. A lot of my clients are great about me being virtual. They might be a little apprehensive at first, but then after a while, they're like, "Oh, okay, great." And I can see people virtually that live in Tampa, that live in Sarasota, that live in Alabama, that live in Connecticut. So they don't have to get in their car and after putting that $4 a gallon gas in their car, they don't have to get in their car and drive to see me. They can just log on to their computer or log on
So,
their phone.
so I guess I was wondering, but because of the urgency, the immediacy, and how quick our lives transformed during the pandemic, we're talking 6 years ago, and we're living as if it never happened. And I'm thinking
Mhm,
probably from a theological, spiritual uh,
mhm.
connotation, but um, did with the sudden losses, and I eat with a group of seniors, and one person shared that they lost their father, during the
Uh-huh.
during the pandemic, and there were frustrations because medications and vaccines were slow coming and those kinds of things, which added to the level of grief that they were experiencing. And I'm just wondering, did we start doing therapy or relying on therapy more after we had such these sudden losses and losses of freedoms and privileges that we experienced six
I
years
think
ago?
so. I think so. I think what happened was we couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And we were, I don't want to use the word stuck in our homes. We were in our homes. Some of us were in our homes by ourselves, trying to, and realizing, oh, I really do have a problem with X, Y, and Z. Some of them were stuck at home with their spouses and they'll go, wait, we don't like each other. We may not even love each other anymore. We've been going to work and coming home and taking care of the kids. And now everybody's at home and like, oh. And then there were some parents who realized that, yes, your kids are the ones who are doing that at school and that the child's teacher is not lying to you. You have that kid, right? A lot of things came up. Therefore, they started going to therapy more. And you're right, a lot of us are living like the pandemic never happened. It was 6 years ago, but it seems like it was just yesterday.
Yes.
It
Yes.
really does. I'm seeing people wearing masks more in public now. And I think, the fear of it is still there. It might be lying dormant. It's not at the forefront of our minds like it was before. But if you say, oh, someone has COVID, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
They have what?
Yes.
Yeah, people are still getting it.
Yes. Yes.
People are still getting it. And whenever I see people, even and you might do the same thing now. When I see people out in public and I see them cough and they don't cover their mouths, or I see them sneeze and they don't cover, I'm looking at them like, what are you doing? I don't care if you don't have anything. I don't know that you don't have anything. You don't know that I don't have anything. That's why when I sneeze out in public, I cover. If I'm in my own house, I still cover, right? If I sneeze or if I cough. So a lot of people are out here acting like it didn't happen, but there's a lot of us feel like, yeah, no, don't do that, because we went through a lot. A lot of people died suddenly. A
Yes.
lot of my late husband's great grandmother died from COVID, and she was in her hundreds.
Mm.
Now, okay, she was in her hundreds, which was a blessing, but she should have been able to just go to sleep
Yes.
and have God call her home, not suffer through COVID.
Yes. 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 Well, would you stick around with me a few minutes after the break and
Sure.
just continue the conversation? Thank you so kindly. We'll see you right back, Dozie, man. So rewind the tape. Go back and look at some of those names that they just served. That's the Go Get X team. Look at those names. Look at those people that they have served. And it picked up, of course, during the pandemic. We're post-pandemic, but virtuality still exists. This show is virtual. Listen, all of your virtual needs, what's the term young people use now? They got you. They really got you. They make a boy like this look presentable on TV. So you know they got you. That's the Go Giga X team. Hit them up right now. Let them hook you up virtually or work with you in your web building. Go Giga X. That's the team right there. So I'm going to, we've just come off of a great week of family celebrations. One of our grandchildren turned 16, and another graduated from high school. Congratulations, Madam Producer. And we had a grand celebration. My wife is Nana of the Year. We have 12 grandchildren. And we only have 3 children now, so we have 12 grandchildren. And she is Nana of the decade to those 12 kids. We had a fantastic celebration. One of the things I'm really going to celebrate, the young man that turned 16, we're going to celebrate tomorrow. He's going to register. He's going to pre-register to vote. And we're really going to celebrate. I'm going to celebrate that with him almost as though it's a sweet 16 party thrown for a young lady. We celebrate that he turned 16. That's that pivotal year. But we certainly celebrate the fact that he understands the value of our vote, particularly as it is being suppressed in many states. And so we're going to celebrate. We're going to have a night out on the town tomorrow. We're going to bless him. Now, why am I telling you this? Because parents, grandparents, godparents, uncles, aunts, look down your whole bloodstream. Be ready to celebrate when that kid turns 16. Celebrate them. They're making it harder. You now have to go to, as of January the 1st, you have to go to supervisory elections offices to register to vote unless they send somebody out in the community. No more third parties are able to do that, but it's worth the trip. Make it a celebration with your child. At 16, they may pre-register. That at 18, they automatically get their card and they're ready to register. Get them registered, get them pre-registered at 16. Make it a big time celebration so that the other siblings and grandchildren or children and everybody sees the importance of just what they're doing for. Remember, many people died for us to have the right to do that, and they're trying to take it away, but we won't let that happen. Listen, this week in Black History, I'm really excited to talk about this sister as one whose whole life and everything ambition was to do strictly radio. And my brother, who started the show with me in 2020, reminded the audience that it was always my will. I would be doing these little radio shows with my old-fashioned disc player and my old 8-track. I'd have one song come in and the disc picks up the other. I do Friday night radio shows and tape them. And he said it was always my ambition when we started this show. And who knew that I don't know, 40, 50 years later, God would have me doing something like this. But I hope that we're a public service. But I'm excited tonight to talk about this sister in Black history. As I said yesterday, we don't want to just, we certainly know about Benjamin Banneker, and we know about Harriet Tubman, and we know about Dr. King. But we want to celebrate those who are amongst us so that they may be a living witness in our eyes. And tonight, the dialogue celebrates Miss Kathy Hughes, who is the owner. She's a Black female entrepreneur. She is the owner of Radio One, which is a conglomerate of radio stations, soul radio stations with mostly talk formatted radios across the nation. And it started with one station, WOL, and that is a lesson to all of us. One station started her broadcasting empire that includes Radio One, but also TV One. Most cable systems carry TV One. If they don't stream it, it's worth having. They show a lot of retro shows, but they also shows that celebrate the culture. Kathy Hughes was the daughter of she was raised in the projects, but her parents were excellers, and she ended up after going to the University of Nebraska in Omaha and Creighton University. She ended up at Howard University, where she would go there as a salesperson, and she upped the sales at WHUR, which is Howard University Radio, from $300,000 to $2 million within a year's time as a salesperson. She went on and purchased WOL radio station there in DC, and that was the start of the conglomerate. Kathy Hughes, at one time, as she was having a hard time, she was acquiring radio stations and trying to build a broadcast empire, and the finances got slow. And she tells the story of going through 34 lenders. Get that. 34 lenders turned her down. And when they turned her down, she and her son lived in WOL radio station. They lived there. Sometimes you have to make setbacks and sacrifices to get on top. And they did just that. And a person that she calls an angel lender came through, and the rest is history. Kathy Hughes is the second richest black woman in the world to Oprah Winfrey, and we certainly tonight want to celebrate Miss Kathy Hughes and hope that she's a role model to many of us. You know, she's mine in broadcasting, and tonight the dialogue just celebrates her. Thank you for your attention to that. Uh, Miss Sister Bell, and I'm gonna call you Sister Bell. This stigma of blacks seeking therapy, are we overcoming that? I know I asked a similar question at the beginning. Are we overcoming that?
Yes, yes, we are. We are.
Fantastic.
Excuse me, 98% of the people that come to me look like me. Excuse me. And they come to me because I look like them. We can have a conversation about certain things, and it doesn't necessarily have to be explained because of the shared culture.
So it's a definite advantage.
Oh, definitely.
Indigenous.
Definite advantage.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me ask you. I have always had and I know you practice. You practice in 3 states, and of course, by being virtual, you're not limited. Do you do much work in the indigenous community? That's a group that I've always had an affinity for.
No, I don't. I've had a few Native American clients in the past, but that was before I started my practice. I was when I was working for nonprofit agencies, but no, not really. And and that could be for the same reasons that we didn't have a lot of, black people didn't want to come, or a lot of Caribbean people didn't want to come, simply because they don't trust it.
Wow.
They may not trust. I'm not saying that to be sure, or they may look for therapists that look like them, right? But it could be they don't trust it.
I'm gonna make a very careful statement, so I'm gonna carefully word what I say. I'm surprised that many of a certain sect of Caribbean of the Caribbean population, because some of their mentalities are more Caucasian than African centered, and that surprises me to hear you say that, unless they're going to one of their own, and I don't mean
Well, they
that.
may be going to people who, if you're a Jamaican, you may feel better with a Jamaican therapist. If you're Haitian, if you're Bahamian, you may feel better going with therapists like that. However, if you come and see me, you tell me that you're Jamaican or you're Bahamian, I am very curious. And I'll ask, okay, so is that a cultural thing? Is that the culture of your country? Um, I ask a lot of questions because I want to be clear. And what I have found out for a lot of stuff, I'm a Southern girl. I'm from Alabama. A lot of things that I hear, I'm like, well, we did that in Alabama when I was a child.
Oh, wow,
It's not
wow,
that it's not as different as people want to believe that it is.
wow.
But it could,
What is?
in our
I'm sorry.
community, it's what happens in our house stays in our house, and that could be also what people say in Caribbean cultures. We don't talk about it. We don't air our dirty laundry or what have you.
Right.
And what I say to people, Black Americans, people who are Jamaican, Bahamian, Haitian, Venezuelan, whatever, if it hurts you, you need to talk about it. If
Mm.
it hurt you when you were a child, if it's still hurting you as an adult, if it is hindering you in any way possible, we need to talk about it.
What are some of the most pressing mental health issues today?
Well, it, anxiety, depression, fear of the unknown. It just depends on the person and what they're going through. Some people are worried about the future. You know, we were talking about voting and everything. Some people are, you know, I voted And look at what happened. Well, you did your job. They're worried about the future. It causes them anxiety. Um, some people are like, I don't feel comfortable around a certain racial demographic.
Mm.
I don't feel safe. We work on things like that. That's anxiety. We're working on that.
What are some of the things if I'm experiencing depression, for me
Hmm.
to understand that I'm actually depressed or I'm experiencing severe depression? What are some of the signs that I can recognize myself as if I was suffering from depression?
A sadness, overwhelming amount of sadness that you just can't seem to shake. You can't seem to get through it. It's one, not wanting to do the things that you once enjoyed
Wow.
is something that can be a sign of depression. Sleeping a lot or not sleeping enough.
Oh,
Some
wow.
people they sleep all the time, and then some people they don't sleep, or they
Wow.
don't eat, or they eat too much. And if they're eating too much, it's not like when we get depressed, we're eating healthy. We're eating things that are not healthy for us. We're eating the comfort foods, right? Um, we may indulge in behaviors that are not healthy for us. So, drinking or doing drugs or gambling or shopping or even having sex with random people, all of those things can be signs of depression. It's so many signs and symptoms.
This is so valuable, so valuable. I want to ask you one other question. One of the things that I think, and we hear it a lot during a political cycle.
Hmm.
We don't really look at it. We say that what's the saying that if America catches a cold, black people catch pneumonia?
Hmm.
Um, One of the things that has come up was, and you hear it in the political cycle, is the disparity of prenatal postmortem care for Black women.
Hmm.
Uh, and could you elaborate on that? I didn't know until I talked to a sister who had experienced that themselves.
Well, when a woman has a baby, so a few things can happen. She may not have any issues at all. But some women go through something called baby blues, which can happen during like that first week or so, first 2 weeks of after having a baby, where you're crying and all of those things. But when it keeps going, that's when we're talking about postpartum depression, where you can't, and it's more severe. It can be more severe. You can't seem to bond with your baby. You're not, and listen, you know this. You're not sleeping. Baby comes home. The one thing you don't do is sleep properly.
Right. That is
Okay.
part.
And for a mother who is, she may be trying to breastfeed, and maybe she can or maybe she can't, but she's exhausted. She's not sleeping properly. She feels like she's not doing a good job as a mother. She feels like she's not able to bond with her baby. All of those things can be signs of postpartum depression, and it is severe. And we don't want to think that it can happen to, oh, that doesn't happen to Black women. Yes, it does. The baby blues happen, and postpartum depression happens. When I have worked with women who have been pregnant, they come to me pregnant, and I'll say, okay, as we get closer to their due date, I'll talk to them about the baby blues. Like, okay, this can happen, especially if it's their first baby. This can happen. If it does, let me know. We'll schedule a session maybe 6 weeks after the due date. If you need me before, reach out. But this can happen.
So, so I spoke to a female who's in the field with you, who experienced the pain, the physical pain, and was told that um, to lay off the medications. It was a C-section birth, and was
Oof.
told by the nurse to to take half the meds that have been prescribed if you
Hmm.
can,
Hmm.
because you seem like you're over medicated. And this young lady said to me, she said, "But you don't understand. I needed everything I could take." There seems to be some kind of a stigma that Black women can bear. I know from way back with Dr. Sims, we did a show on him and the brutality that he meted on our Black women during slavery. What what what
Hmm.
what is? I mean, how does that affect a woman? to continually to experience pain and people not understand it, or the medical community thinking that you were born to bear that kind of pain because
Mhm.
of the color of your skin? How much more is that of a problem?
That's still a huge problem, that we're not listened to by doctors. Um, the majority of my doctors now look like me because of that. I've been blessed that I have had white physicians who listened to me when I had my children. However, I know, listen, Serena Williams, when she gave birth to her first child, she was experiencing blood clots. She had a blood clot, and she was telling the nurses there, hey, I'm uncomfortable. This is what's going on. I don't feel right. And they were, oh, you're fine. Oh, you just had a baby. Da da da. We're talking about one of the most famous women, and at the time, probably the most famous female athlete in the world. And they were like, oh, it's, you're fine. You're fine. And it wasn't until she said it again. Hey, I'm uncomfortable. I'm in pain. I don't know the whole story, but they were able to check her and they found the blood clot. They don't always listen to us because, like you said, oh, Black women have a higher tolerance of pain. Excuse me?
Wow.
What makes you think that? Um, it's not that we have a higher tolerance of pain. It's just that we know what we can and cannot bear, but you all are not listening to us. You're assuming things about us. I remember when I was giving birth to my first child, and actually, it'll her birthday is tomorrow. So, at this point in time, I was probably in labor. But I remember I was preeclamptic, which means my blood pressure was high, and I had to have her. They started to induce me, and they had to break my water, and what they used was like a little hook, and they broke my water, and I was crying. And my late husband walked into the room and he said, why are you crying? I said, because it hurt. And the nurse said, no, it didn't.
Oh my goodness.
I remember that. And I didn't say anything because I'm in labor, I was in labor. But even having someone tell me, oh, it didn't hurt. Excuse me? Are you in my body? Do you feel what I'm feeling? I know what I'm feeling. Don't tell me what doesn't hurt. And it can affect our mental health, because we were, just like you hear about the Tuskegee experiment on our men, but you don't really hear about what they've done to women, how they've done hysterectomies on women without their permission,
Yes.
how
Same
they
in
did
Same
anesthesia,
in Same thing.
right? um, just to see, they're doing experiments on our bodies to see our tolerance for pain. No. So now is, oh, you all have a higher a higher tolerance of pain. No, we don't. We really don't. Um, and for you to assume that we do is racist, is biased, and it hurts us. And that's why even to this day, a lot of Black people do not trust doctors. And it does hurt our mental health.
Sister Bill, we got about 25, 30 seconds. You have any products or website, anything you want to share with oh, you there's a date. Well, we'll talk about you've agreed we'll have to get you on, because I understand that July is Black Mental Health.
Minority Mental Health Awareness Month.
I love
Yes.
that. So, and
And
there's a
yes, there is an event in Mount Hermon AME Church here in Fort Lauderdale that, through the Broward Black Chamber of Commerce, we have an event that we put on every July for the last 3 years, and this July is no different. I'm actually trying to pull up the flyer now. This July is no different. We're going to have our mental health conference where we'll be talking about. We're going to have something for the children. We're going to talk about domestic violence. As you know, that has just exploded. Well, it's always been there. It just seems recently it has exploded. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what people should or should not expect from therapy. We're going to have something for the men. We're going to have something for the women. We're going to have something for the children as well. That is in July. And I could actually give you the date right now. It is on July, July 18th from 11 to 1 at Mount Hermon AME Church in Fort Lauderdale.
can we get you to just pop in for at least a minute or two leading up to? I know your birthday is off limits, but can we get you to come in on one of those shows leading up to that
Sure,
event?
sure, not a problem.
Ms. Adawna Bell, thank you so very, very kindly for your spirit about helping, for your vast knowledge that you share, and thank you for the ministry that you perform to
Thank
so
you
many
for
of us
having
to
me.
help us to regain and to stay strong mentally. And thank you for your sensitivity in dealing, particularly with we black men. Thank you so much. And
You're very welcome, Pastor.
looking to see you shortly. And thank you so kindly. God bless you.
God bless you too. Take care.
You as well. Thank you.
Bye
All
bye.
right, man. I just God bless our sister who came on at the last minute. We just could not let this vital issue pass by, and we in designated time. And just thank God for her spirit again for coming on. Listen, if you've been watching the NBA Western Conference playoffs, you saw a doozy. You saw 7 games, and you saw an alien take his team to victory in Game 7 over the defending champs, who look like they are the Knicks dynasty, and their star looks like Michael Jordan. But they won. The San Antonio Spurs won rather convincingly Saturday night, and they're on their way to play orange and blue skies, the New York Knicks. That series started on this Wednesday night. We're not going to take time to do any video of that, but what an awesome series that was. And there's a lot more I want to say, but I want to get to our fun thing tonight. Really excited by Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. You probably didn't recognize him today. He had his hair out. It wasn't plaited. And he took full accountability for their loss on Saturday night at home. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a leader. On the other side, Victor Wembanyama, this kid's unbelievable. His mental, I think he's got the stuff that Michael Jordan and Larry Bird were made of mentally, just strong mentally, and willed his team to victory. And God knows he's got the talent. And with with that combination of talent and will, he's going to be a force to be to deal with over many, many years. So we'll see what the Knicks are able to do. And the Knicks have only lost 4 games since the month of January. They've only lost 2 games in the playoffs. They won the last 10 straight games in the playoffs. Wednesday night, it starts, and we'll be talking about it here on the dialogue. Now, we've been talking to you about this issue of asking our black football players and athletes not to go to these schools, these Southern PWIs that have participated in the voter suppression. Next week, we're going to deal with that on our show wholeheartedly. Dr. Otis Moss III did an awesome job of dealing with that, and we're going to pull from him and bring some coaches on and discuss that. Listen, we got a new segment. We've been kind of doing this since the show rebooted, but we got a new segment we call Spreading Joy. Dozie has been absolutely fascinated with these group of people who go into primarily Walmart, Sam's Club stores and engages customers and salespersons alike, or even go into public places. Well, tonight you're going to see a different fella come on, and he's going to bless us. And then we're going to look at another video with somebody I think you all know, a short video on a popular Beyonce song. We call this segment Spreading Joy. That's how we want to end the night. We want to spread some joy. Let's go to the video.
Oh, what you gonna do? You wanna get down? Tell me. Oh, what you gonna do? Do you wanna get down? Oh, what you gonna do? You wanna get down? Oh, what you gonna do? You wanna get down? Tell me. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Come on in. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. How you gonna do it if you really don't wanna do dance by standing on the wall. Get your back up off the wall. Tell me, how you gonna do it if you really don't wanna dance by standing on the wall? Get your back up off the wall. 'Cause I heard all the people saying, get down on it. Come on and get down on it. If you really want it, get down on it. You gotta feel it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Come on and get down on it. Baby, baby. Get down on it. Get on it. Get down on it. I say people, what you gonna do? You gotta get on the groove if you want your body to move. Tell me, baby, how you gonna do it if you really don't wanna dance by standing on the wall? Get your back up off the wall. Tell me, how you gonna do it if you really won't take a chance by standing on the wall? Get your back up off the wall. 'Cause I heard all the people saying, get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. When you're dancing, get down on it. 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 Come on and get down on it. Baby, baby. Get down on it. Get on it. Get down on it. Sha-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. What you gonna do? Do you wanna get down? What you gonna do? Get your back up off the wall. Dance, come on. Get your back up off the wall. Dance, come on. Get down on it. Come on and get down on it. If you really want it, get down on it. You gotta feel it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Come on and get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. While you're dancing, get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Oh, 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 yeah. Get down on it.
So we want to spread some joy. As I see it, listen, your mental health is everything. You can be a physical specimen, but if things are not going on well with you mentally, emotionally, your body is, we saw some football players leave us prematurely because they were dealing with some mental issues and emotional issues. Take care of yourselves mentally as well as your physicality. This is Dialogue with Dozie. We'll see you next Monday night. Madam Producer, we love you. Go Giga, you are the best. See y'all next week right here in Dozie Land.